What's going on, guys? So last time you saw Sam and I install the upper and lower control arms on the Cutlass. Today I'm going to see how far I can get on the brakes, at least on the front end, and then Sam should be joining me and we can probably work on getting the passenger side header back on once this side's all buttoned back together. So I'm going to get started on the driver's side by installing the new brakes with new wheel seals and inner and outer bearings. So let's see how that goes. All right, so I've got one rotor here, got the pads, the bag, I got a bunch of seals and bearings. Basically, I'm gonna start packing the bearings with wheel bearing and chassis grease. I have this fancy dancy little tool that basically you put the bearing in there. If it's a tapered roller bearing, push in here and it'll squeeze the grease into the bearing so you don't have to pack it by hand. This works sometimes. I've actually found it a lot more effective to use my hand, but I'm going to try this first. So it looks like this is the outer bearing. You'll know that because it's the smaller one. So you chuck it in there, just like that, with the taper going down. Push this on top, and then you push, and continue to push until you start seeing grease come out from all of the rollers. So it's looking like it's coming out of one side. I'm going to continue to do this until it comes out of the entire bearing. So now if you look at the bearing, you have grease around the entire thing. So this bearing is packed. Now I'm gonna find a place where I can set this aside so it's not gonna get dirty, because I gotta pack the other bearing, put grease inside the rotor and hub assembly, and then I'll put it onto the car. I'm not so sure that this is going to work for this bearing. So I think I'm going to have to pack this one by hand. You can see the holes on this guy. It's only meant for a certain size bearing, so I'm going to have to pack this guy by hand. But I guess I can show you guys that as well. So with your grease, basically you're going to take some, going to put it on the palm of your hand. This is very messy. And then you're going to take the bearing, the back end of it, and then you just basically squeeze the grease between the bearing and your hand until you see grease come out of the other end. So just like that, you see the grease is starting to come through here on the rollers, and you do that around the entire bearing. And you'll start to see the grease coming out. That's when you know you can move it to another set of rollers. If you are to be packing old bearings that have old grease, basically you'll do this until you see all the old dirty grease come out of the bearing and you start seeing new grease. Being that these guys are brand new, takes a little less time. So now, if you look at the bearing, I've got grease throughout the entire thing and all over my hands. So this guy is completely packed. So now I'm gonna grab as much grease as I can off my hands. Don't know why I put that in there yet. I'm gonna grab some more grease from in the tub. I'm going to force it down into the hub of the rotor. This is so you have some grease in here. As the grease in the bearings gets dirty and old, there's a bit of a capacity for it. You don't need to pack this like completely full, but I like to add a fair amount. So now that I've got grease inside the hub and both bearings are packed, I will set the inner bearing in, and then wipe my hand off again. And then I'll grab the seal and install that guy. And basically this is what the seal looks like. Install it inside this recess here. And now I gotta find a piece of wood or something that I can lay on top of there that it'll sit flush. Or if you're like me and you have a bunch of Mopar upper ball joint tools, you can use this guy. Then you want to make sure that it's flush all the way around. It looks like it's a little high over here. And there you go. Now the seal is installed. And this assembly can then go on the car. All right, so now we're over at the car. The very first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move the rotor away while I use some brake clean to clean this up a little bit. Basically trying to clean up this seal surface so I don't destroy the brand new seal as soon as it's installed with all this gritty old grease. I'm being careful not to scratch the surface because then we will obviously allow grease to seep out. And I know these spindles look disgusting and I should clean them, but future plans for this car is to do coilovers and probably drop spindles. So this setup may not be here for too long. So that's also why I didn't buy the top of the line brakes, just because I don't plan to keep these brakes for all too long either. So now that it's all cleaned up, I can grab my rotor, making sure not to hit it on a lot of things. There's that. Then I've got my outer bearing. All right, sorry for cutting out there. I had to clearance the dust shield a little bit, bending it out a little bit. I had to bend it in so that it didn't hit the new lower control arm, but now I had to bend it out back again, do a little bit of clearancing there. But now it's all on there. Now I've heard quite a few different things with these guys. You're supposed to set them, spin it over, loosen them up, spin it, set it, loosen it up, and then give it a slight bit of a tightness so that you don't have any play, but it's also not terribly hard to spin. Now, I am no expert when it comes to tapered roller bearings, so do not take what I say to heart, but that's what I do. So now that I've got that all set up, unfortunately I don't have new caps either. I'll probably have to order those and get those on here because these look like garbage. But then you take your cap. I actually might put some grease in here, so So I added a bit of grease in here, and I almost forgot to put the cotter pin back in. So hopefully my castle nut lines up where cotter pin can go in. If not, I'll have to move it. So there it is. And yes, I am using the old cotter pin, but like I said, these brakes are not going to be here forever. There we go. And then now we can work on putting the caliper back on and all that stuff. I did get new lines, and I want to make sure that the calipers are still in good working order before I install them. So let me check all that out and bring you guys back. All right, so now I've got the caliper with the new brake hose, new pads, and then I'll just slap these guys in again. I know they look disgusting, but like I said, these are not the permanent braking solution for this vehicle, so these are gonna do just fine. I know I do.
You using that fucking drive-through car wash brush again?
No.
That 30 grit brush. Car wash.
What's going on, guys? So today I'm back working on the Olds. Last time I had stopped work because I had a bad caliper banjo bolt. I bought new ones, replaced them. So the passenger side is all put together now. I've got the line in there, new bleeder, new caliper bolt, new pads, rotor. And then Joe and I worked on bolting up that header. I didn't think that was worth filming because it's a pain, and I already filmed that. So today we are going to be working on the rear brakes. I had Joe take off the drums already, and I've already taken loose the hold downs to make sure that I can get these apart. So today I'm going to be working on putting new drums, shoes, and hardware. So I will show you guys as we go along. We are going to take off all the springs. This can be tricky. These are very high tension, so careful not to kill yourself with these. Luckily I have new ones, so I don't have to worry too bad about keeping these pristine. So there we go. Got everything apart. While I'm in here, I am also going to be replacing the what am I trying to say? The brake cylinder. There's just 2 bolts in the back, and then obviously the brake line. I've got new ones just because I didn't. It looks like the rear brakes are locked up because they did not work when we did a little test drive here with the rear wheels up in the air. So I'm thinking that one of these has got to be bad. So I'm going to just replace both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so you saw me struggle a little bit trying to not break that line. Luckily that did not break. So I've got my new wheel cylinder. It looks basically the same as the old one. Same width and everything. And the fittings look good, so I'm going to say that'll work. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and reinstall this. Make sure when you do take it off, you are going to need to keep your bolts, or if yours snap, gonna need to buy new ones. Luckily mine came out just fine. And also the 2 little legs that go into it, which I can't seem to find right now, are also needed to be kept. I'll find them later. But first, before I do all this, I'm going to spray down the backing plate and clean it as best I can with a wire brush, just because it's a good time to do that right now. Alright, so there's that. I'm gonna move my drip tray out of the way. Looks like it didn't help terribly. Alright, so I've got the wheel cylinder in, got the old, I don't even know what the heck these are called, but basically what actually expands the drum. So then I'm going to put those guys in here. Looks like they just sit in there. Then I gotta figure out how to put this thing back together. So I got the hardware kit out. I think I got everything I need. Basically I got the hold down springs, the little spacer cup thing that goes on this side, the hold down cups, and then the nails, and then some new springs as well. Now I just gotta figure out how to put it all together. So I guess you guys will learn alongside me. I believe this guy goes here. I couldn't be certain though. Now I believe they go like this, because we got the flat spot, we got the round spot. Round spot should go around. No, I'm wrong. Round spot goes up here, because that's going to ride on there, and then the little arms are going to ride in here, I believe. But I think behind this, I believe this is supposed to go on. Now what it hooks onto, I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Pretty sure that's how that goes. Now I just gotta put the spring in there, and I do not know how I am supposed to compress that enough but we will find out. Okay, there, that is held in somehow. Don't know how, but it's held in. Also not sure if that's how it's supposed to be. All right, so I looked up an image of how they're supposed to go on. It looks like this spring is supposed to be on this guy. And then it looks like the red spring is supposed to be on the bottom. And it looks like the green spring, wherever that is, if I can find it, or the white spring in my case, goes on this side. So let's try that. Or maybe I got that wrong. Whatever, we'll figure it out. All right, hopefully you can tell that that was a struggle, because holy crap was it. But it looks like everything's back together. I hope everything works. I guess we'll find out. But it looks like the adjuster still works. Yeah, I don't know, that was a pain. That was the hardest drum brakes I've ever done. So I guess, yeah, that's about it. When we get to putting the other side on, well, I'm gonna throw the other side together, hopefully faster than this one went together. And then Joe should be coming back, so then I can start bleeding the brakes on this, and we'll bring you back when that happens. And yeah. All right, so we've got both sides together. Still have this side off. I'm just gonna have to put the drum on. But the other side went much smoother since I knew what I was actually doing. So I already got the new drum on there. It's already adjusted where it's got a bit of resistance, but not too much, for the adjuster in the bottom. Joe and I are going to bleed them. I don't think I need to video that, so I'm not. But basically the procedure is we're gonna start from the furthest wheel from the master cylinder, so it would be the passenger rear, then go to the driver's rear, then go to the passenger front, and then to the driver's front. And hopefully that'll all go well, and then I'll have some new brakes for this, and yeah, and that'll end it. So I think I'm gonna end the video here. If you guys liked the video, please like the video and consider subscribing. See you guys later.